Hello, Keo. Hello, Finley. We might have visitors today. We do have visitors. Walking on my chime. Yes, this is Keo. I don't know if you can see, but that little orange kitty over there is Finley. So they always seem to know when I'm here to film and somebody shows up. So it's okay. We love our pets, don't we? So welcome. It's been a couple weeks, so I am happy to share a practice with you today. Our theme, if you will, today is going to be exploring nature, and we're going to have some fun exploring some various poses that all connect with nature, Mother Earth, and it's such an amazing time of year, spring, and all the different plants and flowers and trees that are awakening and blossoming and blooming. And it's such a beautiful gift, especially this year, to just be surrounded with that beauty. So we'll be honoring Mother Nature today and just having some fun and doing some exploring. But first, let us center and we'll do our warm-ups before we get into our asana. So find a comfortable seat, whether it's on the floor or in a chair. Today's practice can be done seated or standing, either one, but for centering, maybe you might be more comfortable in a chair. Just find a comfortable seat, rooting down in your sit bones, just bringing that spine, stretching it, imagine it expanding and extending nice and tall and straight. Shoulders are relaxed down and back, and hands can just relax on the lap. You can have the palms up if you're ready to receive, or palms down if you're needing more of a grounding feeling at this moment. And just taking a moment to notice your breath. Just breathing naturally, just noticing your breath. Maybe feeling your heartbeat. Doing a scan of your body, noticing the places your body is feeling strong, relaxed, maybe some places where it might be experiencing some discomfort. And if so, just take a long inhale and imagine sending that healing breath to that place and releasing that discomfort on your exhale. And you can do that a couple of more times. When we come to our mat, it's a time to check in with ourselves, our body, our mind, our spirit. Have this time to disconnect with the outside world and just be a time to be. Mother Nature has her time to be and her time to rest and restore, rebuild. It's an ebb and flow of the earth, of life. And John Denver said, "The future of life on earth depends on our ability to see the sacred where others see only the common." The sacred earth, the sacred animals and plants, the sacred sky, and our sacred selves as well. Our sacred bodies, spirits, and minds. It's a gift. Let's just go ahead and bring a little more attention to our breath and just think about lengthening that inhale and the exhale. practicing even breathing, bringing balance. And gently opening the eyes with a soft gaze. On an inhale, bringing hands towards sky. On an exhale, back toward the earth. Let's do that 2 more times. Nice and slowly. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and begin warming up this beautiful sacred body of ours. So I would like just to begin with some gentle warm up of the neck. So let's just take a moment to reach a hand out in front and then just follow that hand with our gaze and our neck. And taking both back to where we feel a beautiful stretch, but no strain. It's not about how far you look or take your hand. And your gaze can follow your hand without your head turning that far. Now let's bring that back to center and release, and do that on the other side. So just taking that arm out to the side. We are turning our head, giving our neck a stretch, but we're letting our gaze follow our hand to wherever it feels like we're getting a release. Some work in that muscle, some stretch, but not strain. And then bringing it back to center. And relax the hand in the lap. Let's take one ear toward a shoulder. And then look down toward that collarbone. Notice that where the stretch and that you feel and where it's different. Taking the gaze back out forward and then back down toward the shoulder. If you'd like, you can press the back of the head gently to get a little more of a stretch there, if that's feeling good in your body today. Take your gaze back forward and bring it up to center. Breathe in, breathe out. And your next inhale. On the exhale, we'll take the opposite ear to the opposite shoulder. This might feel very different from the first side. One side is usually a little tighter than the other. And then let's take our gaze down toward our shoulder. Back out toward front. Checking and keeping that spine long. There's a tendency to want to collapse, so keep that spine nice and long. Take the gaze back down toward the shoulder, and this point, if you'd like to see how that feels, to put very light pressure on the back of the head, you can, or you can just be right where you are. And bring the gaze back forward and come up to center. And just think about jutting your chin forward a little and then pressing the back of your head toward the back. Jutting forward, pressing the head back. Let's bring our shoulders all the way up to our ears, just as high. And release. And imagine someone just put a sandbag on each shoulder. Feel the shoulders pressing down. Let's do that again. Inhale. And exhale. And just roll the shoulders slowly back a few times and then forward, warming up those shoulders. Then bringing our arms out, pressing our fingertips toward the floor and then toward the sky as we lower. toward the floor as we bring our arms up. It's like flying. And it would be amazing to just be able to take off and fly and be safe. Excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and bring a little cat-cow into our practice. Very gentle, bringing the heels of the hands into the hip creases, pressing into your thighs as you lift your heart. Notice I'm not throwing my neck back. I'm just lifting my heart. And then I'm going to exhale and come into a cat. Now I don't have to round. I can just lean back. Take care of your spine. So inhaling and exhaling. Let's just move through a couple more of those. Moving with the breath. Warming up our amazing spine. Can do this any time of the day. Can feel really, really good, especially if you've been doing a lot of sitting. Then coming back to center. And I just invite you to extend your legs, sit tall. Then we're just gonna kind of sway. Maybe we're sitting in a boat, floating down a river. Just gonna go back and forth here. You can do this on your mat too. Just extending, swaying like we're floating in the water. Just going with the flow. And then come back to center. Let's come up to sitting. And we'll go ahead and just gently lift one foot off the floor, just enough to bend and extend that knee. And maybe you're gonna lift the hip. Imagine you are pedaling a bicycle. So the hip is involved, the knee is involved. You can press your hands into your chair. And if you're on your mat, you can lean back on your hands for support for your back. And then you can just bring that out to the side. Move that hip around. Some hip circles going the other direction. And then release that foot down. Whew, what? That baby woke up. And we'll go to the other side. So just lifting foot off a little bit off the floor. And honestly, you don't even really need to do that. You can keep the foot on the floor and just scoot it out and in. And that's great for warming up your knee joint. If you'd like to get more of that bicycle motion while you're warming up your knee joint to get the hip involved, you can definitely do that. And then bring it out to the side. Just move that hip around. Remembering to sit tall. And then rest that leg down. Ooh. Yeah. All right, and just maybe do some nice, gentle marching. Peaceful marching. My first march was on the very first Earth Day, 50 years ago. And I think I was in 7th grade. We had a march to demonstrate support, taking care of our earth 50 years ago. Wow. It was peaceful. And relax both feet down on the ground. Great, now let's go ahead and give our ankles a little attention. Come up on our toes. Whoo, feel that stretch across the top of the ankle. Lower the heel to the ground. Now lift the front foot off the ground. So now you're flexing the foot, bringing the toes toward the shin. Lower that to the ground, up on your toes. And just bless your heel and lift the front toes off. And just move back and forth with the breath, breathing in, breathing out. Lovely. Let us go ahead and begin. We're going to begin with Tadasana, mountain. a mountain strong, stable, still, solid. Yeah, let's go there. So rooting down in your both feet. If you'd like to stand for your mountain, you certainly can. And you may sit, either one, rooting down into all the corners of your feet, pressing into the earth. Legs are engaged, quads are engaged, seated or standing. It's the same. Nice tall spine. Relax the shoulders down and back, arms up to sides. Palms facing forward, chin parallel with the floor. And be here for a few breaths. Tadasana. Tadasana. Being mindful of your spine, keeping it nice and tall while keeping the shoulders relaxed. You can close your eyes if you would like. If you're standing and you close your eyes, you might notice it becomes a bit of a balance challenge. But we begin here with our mountain. Always a place we can come to. And go ahead and open the eyes if you had them closed. And we will move in to a wide-legged forward fold. But we're only going to go halfway to begin. It's early in our practice. So heel toe your feet nice and wide. And find knees are going to be a bit bent, even if you're standing. Bend your knees a little bit. It's early in our practice. And we're going to hinge forward from the hips. And we're only going to come down halfway. So if you're standing, your hands may be on your thighs. If you're seated, you could put your forearms on your thighs and just come down halfway. Then we'll inhale up. And then we'll exhale to cobra. So placing our hands back right underneath our waistband, the sacrum, and lifting that heart. Back to mountain. Inhale. And exhale to forward fold. Just coming down halfway, being very gentle and mindful. Inhale to mountain. And exhale to cobra. Inhale to mountain. Exhale to forward fold. You might come down a little farther this time, but not too far. Inhale to mountain. And exhale to cobra. Inhale to mountain. And return your feet to position for Tadasana. So along our exploring nature today, we've seen a mountain and flown like a bird, and I'll be visiting a waterfall. So waterfalls are gorgeous. So you, to practice waterfall standing, you find a nice long straight spine. Rooting down your feet, and you just reach your hands up with your palms facing the sky as if you're holding up some clouds, and you just lean back a little bit. Notice I'm not throwing my neck back, just leaning back a little bit. So this is very gentle. So what's happening is the water is coming over and going down the way. So we're not trying to do a deep back bend. Sitting in the chair, very similar. Simply sit in your chair, you bring your hands up, and you just lean back enough that you feel that water coming down off your hands, running down your back, washing away your worries, and then come back to center. Now, if you notice that was a little for your neck, just remember, it's not about the neck, it's about the spine. And just try to be very mindful of keeping that neck aligned with the with the spine when we do those kinds of practices. And if it bothers you still, you don't have to bend back. You can just put your hands out, and this can be your waterfall. Okay? Always options. Honor the body. Your body is sacred, just like earth. Right. So we are moving into Vrikshasana for tree posture. So let's prepare for that by deciding what our base will look like. We know that for tree, our arms may be here, they can be at heart center, they can be out at sides. We might have one hand on a chair if we're practicing standing and would like the chair for support. But let's explore options for the feet. So if you're practicing tree in your chair, you can extend your supporting leg, and the opposite leg, you open that hip and just bring that foot in close, just like that. The knife edge of my open hip, the foot there is on the ground. This leg is extended, and I'm pressing through the foot. So I am engaging this leg, I'm pressing through the foot. This hip is open. Another option is that you could have this knee be bent, and you could bring this foot over and put your heel up against the leg of the chair. And this could be the base of your tree. If you'd like to practice standing, always options there as well. So you can practice, you have your feet rooted down in the earth, and whether you're seated or standing, you'll need to find a focal point. So you find your focal point or your drishti, and you bend that knee, open that hip, and I can stay here and have my heel resting against the inside of my ankle. Maybe I have something close by, like a chair or a counter, and I can bring my the bottom of my foot up against the inside of my shin and explore. Remember, we're exploring. I'm going to see what that feels like. And it feels like I want to really be swaying and there's a big wind, then maybe I want to put my toes back down on the ground. It's what works best for you. So find the position, find your base, your foundation, and decide where you want to be. And then decide where you want your arms to be. You have your drishti, your focal point. It might be 6 to 10 feet away at something on the floor that is not moving. And just breathe here. Vrikshasana, tree pose. Oh, trees. Such a life-giving, important part of Mother Earth. And when you're ready, you can bring your hands down, bring that knee forward, and rest the foot on your ground. And then shake out that supporting leg. Even if you were seated, you know, that leg was extended and engaged, so just give it a little shake too. All right, let's go ahead on the other side. So find your mountain pose in your drishti and decide how your foundation is going to look like on this side. And then you're going to root down into that supporting leg. Bend the knee of the opposite leg. Make sure you're doing the other side. And then open that hip to the side. And then decide where you want your foot. You can use your chair for support or anything else. You can practice bringing the foot up, and maybe you fall out. You're not going to break your arm if you fell out of a real tree. Your foot will go on the ground, and that's okay. And then decide where you want your hands this time. That's what we do in yoga. We explore, and things are not, it looks how it looks. We feel how we feel, and we just explore without judgment and without harm. Breathing here. Hi, Panther. And then go ahead, relax your hands down. Bring that knee forward. Rest that foot on the ground and shake out your opposite leg. This is a rare sighting of the panther here in this nature setting where we are today. So we've had the wild orange tiger kitty, and here's the black panther, and the pup, and the human, you know, all coexisting together. All right, so beautiful with the tree. So now let's go ahead and bring in the moon. Yes. And the moon posture we'll be practicing next is actually crescent moon. And it can be practiced seated or standing. It's a beautiful lateral bend for our side body. So I'll show you what it might look like standing. So we bring our feet together as close as we can. And that's going to look different for different people's body. If I try to bring my feet right next to each other, then my knees can't be together. So apparently my knees, this is how it is. So it's perfect. It's just my body. And so I honor it and I go with it. So here we go. So let's bring our arms up, and you can clasp your fingers, your index finger pointing upward, and then we're just going to do a nice bend to one side, nice and slow. Find a beautiful place of effort and ease, and then lift the heel of the side you're bending toward, and you'll notice you get more expansion on the outside and more squeeze on the inside. Then we'll come back to center. Let's bring our hands down for a moment. And then we'll go ahead and go to the other side. So here we go. So bending like a crescent moon, just keeping our alignment strong, not leaning forward or backwards. And when you're ready, lift that heel of the side you're bending toward, and you'll immediately feel the difference, expanding on the outside, squeezing on the inside. And then coming back to center, hands to heart and to your side. Let's take a moment in Tadasana. Rooting down all four corners of our feet, pressing into the earth. Rooting down to rise up, legs engaged, shoulders relaxed down and back, spine nice and long. And breathing. The moon and the earth have a connection, a relationship. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes, and we'll move into stork. So stork is cool. It's a balanced posture, but we have options. So if you've ever seen The Karate Kid, I haven't. But if you ever have, it's a famous pose in that movie. So let's see what it looks like on the chair. So on the chair, you will have your supporting leg. The other leg, you'll just lift off the floor, keeping the knee bent at a 90-degree angle. Okay. And then you can lift the arm of the leg that is raised. Or you can bring both hands up, or here. We're pressing into the earth with our supporting leg, and the opposite knee is bent and lifted at a 90-degree angle. If you're standing, like this, so you decide where, root down into that supporting leg, find your drishti. Decide where you might want your hands, and you lift that knee and that leg, and keeping those at a 90-degree angle. And if you fall out, that's okay. We're practicing. We're exploring stork. It's not going to be bringing us a baby. We're okay. I like to have the chair close by though too, because I can have a hand on that, and then I can bring my foot up, and it helps me to practice and learn what that feels like. And then when I'm ready, I can release and see what happens. So when you're ready, come out of that and we'll go to the other side. Right? You can decide if you want to practice seated or standing. It's up to you. So let's root down into our supporting leg, which is the other one. And then we'll find our focus, our focal point, raising the opposite leg, keeping the knee, the hip at a 90-degree angle to the torso, a knee at a 90-degree angle. Then raising that same arm. Or you can raise both arms. You can have the hands out in front. Just touch your fingertips with Hakini Mudra. And just breathe. Keep breathing. If you need to take a break, you can. Even practicing this seated is work in the leg for sure. And I'm going to remember to press down into the earth with my supporting leg. It doesn't just get to hang out there. It has to do its part too. When we're ready, we'll release that leg down. Woo! And come back to our seated mountain or standing mountain. So with a wide, let's do a little movement with a wide-legged forward fold. So again, breaking our legs wide. Okay, let's inhale. Exhale, come down, hinging from the hips. Inhale, coming back up. Exhale, back down. So moving slowly. Inhale up. A little more of a dynamic forward fold, moving in and out of it. Exhale, release, and this time let's just stay down here for a moment. You might have your forearms on your legs, and you can just relax your head and neck even further. Maybe your hands are on your shins. Just let that head, shoulders, and neck release. Find the place that works best for you. And when you're ready, let's just press our hands into our thighs to come up to a seated position. All right. So Devyasana is a pose of Mother Nature representing both strength and softness. And it looks like this. So our feet are wide. Okay. Toes pointing forward. Hands out to side, elbows bent. This is it. Strength and softness. If you're standing, feet are wide, knees slightly bent. Now, some people, you might see that some people bend their knees more. That doesn't work in my body. So my knees have a very soft bend to them because there's no pain in yoga. Just take some breaths here. Devyasana, goddess pose, horse pose. Let's go ahead and straighten our legs and lower our hands to our sides. Okay. And finally, pigeon. So we're going to do a seated pigeon today. So go ahead, have a seat on your chair. And we'll bring one ankle across the opposite knee. If this doesn't work for you to bring your ankle on top of your knee, then I want you can cross that ankle wherever it works for you. Okay? Then we're sitting straight and tall. And we're just simply going to hinge forward super slow, like an inch. Notice what you feel and where. Then you might come forward maybe another inch or half inch. So important to go very slowly here and just very gently moving forward. At some point, you will feel a stretch that feels really good. If at any point it doesn't feel good and it feels like a strain, you're going to come right back up. Because this is not a contest about how far forward you can fold. It doesn't matter. What matters is you're honoring your body. And let's come back up to seated and go to the other side. As I like to help my leg up. Everybody needs help sometimes. And sides are different too. So it might feel differently on this side. So our ankles crossed over, we're seated nice and tall. We're just going to hinge forward. We'll come forward an inch and see how that works. And maybe a ½ inch. You might find that just simply sitting like this is stretch enough, that you feel that enough, and that's good. That is perfect. The idea of exploring and honoring nature and ourselves. We don't want to harm. No harm. Ahimsa. And then come back up. Seated. Lovely. Let's do one more wide-legged forward fold. Breathing in. Breathing out a nice, slow forward fold. Come to a point where you're comfortable and you feel supported and you can just relax the head, neck, and shoulders. So you're hanging like a rag doll. When you're ready, you can press your hands into your thighs and press up to seated. Forward folds are a beautiful way of just releasing tension. It can be very relaxing, very grounding. I often will do 2 or 3 before I go to bed. But be gentle. Keep a slight bend in your knees. So if I'm standing, I won't want to have my knees locked out. I want to keep a little bend there. And then I can just go down slowly and see what feels good. And maybe I'm right here and this is where I release. And I can engage my core and come back up to a standing position. But I let my hands help me because we're being gentle. Being gentle. Right. So thank you so much for joining me for this practice. Of course, it's not over. You still have your Shavasana. You may stretch out and lay out and be as quiet and still for as long as you would like. And I would like to leave you again with this quote from John Denver. The future of life on earth depends on our ability to see the sacred where others see only the common. You're sacred, you're enough, you're beautiful, and may you also be safe, well, and filled with peace. Until next time.